Someone wrote in and said, my question is, when do you know if you can call yourself a sex educator? I haven't been able to find a lot of advice on that specifically. I have friends who ask for my advice, maybe mainly because they know I know a lot in that area, but I'd really like to get started on the education part of it. I have knowledge and finally confidence in myself to be able to handle a lot of situations that come my way. Anyway, thank you for your time. Would love to know what you think.
Wow, great question.
Yeah.
I'm Reid from ReidAboutSex.com, creator of Sex Geek Summer Camp. And when you see the green t-shirt, this means we're giving business advice for sex educators.
Cathy Martilli from the IntimacyDojo.com.
All right. So, Cathy, what's your answer to this question?
I think it's kind of a gray thing. There's not like a certification. Well, there are some certifications, but you're a sex educator when you're educating about sex. And when you start feeling like you have a good enough base of information, not that any of us can know everything, as evidenced in the last video we shot where we're like, oh, we're not sure of the answer. It doesn't mean that you have to know everything, but if you've had some experience answering questions and you feel like you have a good enough base of knowledge to get out there and start helping people and improving their sexual connection or their information, I think you're a sex educator.
Mm-hmm. So my answer to this, our industry has a lot of people. We live in a do-it-yourself culture these days. Some people go to school for these things. Some people, it's life experience. I'm going to say you get to identify however you want, whether you're a good sex educator or not.
That's very key.
Whether you're a great sex educator or not. That's going to be open for interpretation. So you get to identify however you want. Which, I mean, I could say I'm a mathematician, and Miss PhD engineer person here is going to be like, you're so not a mathematician. So then the question is like, can I back it up? Right?
You are just not a good mathematician.
I am a horrible mathematician. So again, like there's a certain situation where what's your knowledge base? And then how do you feel about it? Now, a lot of us in the sex ed world have imposter syndrome. So I still feel like on a bad day, I'm a shitty sex educator and I don't deserve to be in my industry. And that's me, having created Sex Geek Summer Camp, teaching sex educators how to be better at being sex educators and make a living and all that stuff. So understand that you may never feel quite like you've arrived, but that doesn't mean you can't be helping people. So my request is that you get really good at giving and continuing to stay up on the current information about accurate sexual health information, good relationship, communication, self-care, emotional IQ skill sets, right? Because sex isn't just about, tab A into slot B. Yeah. It's about communicating, getting better at consent. How do you teach people about consent and harm reduction, all these things that can feel overwhelming, but if this is really going to be your career, then ideally you're going to stay up on things and continue to improve. This also includes in our community just getting better at what's being called decolonizing sex education, which is getting really savvy about why understanding race and inclusion dynamics is important. Understanding gender dynamics is important. All the isms, body, shame, and like, if you really want to be kick-ass, you really, I think, need to figure out why this stuff is important and why you should give a flying fuck.
I really encourage you too to find some peers that, talking about the ideas with peers, you can say, maybe you could say it this way, it might be a little better, or just hearing their expressions of it is really powerful. So going to like Catalyst Con or Woodhull Sexual Freedom Summits, if you can swing those, or there's a lot of regional ones as well, or getting to Sex Geek Summer Camp where you can meet a bunch of people, and learning how to express yourself in ways, like upping the game. I'm always looking for ways I can express what I'm sharing in a way that will land quicker, easier, more powerfully for people. So a really good educator is not only sharing good information, but they're sharing it in a way that their audience can learn it very easily and that's very accessible to them.
And if you're always upping your game, and inviting others to up their game around understanding privilege and systemic oppression and things that really impact sex education. That's just useful to have those skill sets anyway, to invite other people to step up, even if you're working on a very niched population that is a very privileged population, because everybody needs sex ed, and our industry needs more voices, more diversity, and so again, it's gonna be tricky, because when are you entering the conversation?
But we all started off as little chicks going, I think this is how it, like none of us just emerged full bloom into the community.
Yeah, we all learned. Some of you will feel safer and better about your work by going to, getting a PhD or something like that at the end of your name. That's not me. And so I don't know that I'll ever have letters after the end of my name. And again, you can be really good at what you do and garner the respect of your peers and help a lot of people and not have to go to school for it. But I'm always learning and having a lot of brain sex with my peers and seeking out people who are way smarter than me on things, because that makes me better at what I do.
Yeah. Our community needs more voices. We do need more, there's so many people that need to have good, solid sex ed. So adding your voice to it, claiming yourself as a sex educator, and then making yourself into the best one you can be, that's really valuable. We need you in the community.
And last but not least, maybe your journey, your path is to be a sex educator ally. We need people helping us, assistants, and people that work in sex positive companies and support getting the message and the work out there. So again, if you're the assistant to somebody, or you work in a publishing house, and your mission is to get more titles about sex and sexual health published and out into the world, or you work in media and your thing is to get more stories out there about sex education so that we can help people, in some ways you're a sex educator adjacent. And so I think you can claim, however you want to make that title.
Yeah, and just to clarify one thing, I might have misheard, but you can work in a sex store or sex toy store and still be a sex educator. But some people that work in the stores they don't want to be out there teaching classes. They invite other people in to teach classes.
Yeah. So how do you identify? What do you think you need to be officially a sex educator? I would love to hear your thoughts. Mm-hmm. Give us some info and some comments. Yes. Thanks.
I hope this business geekery was useful for you. If you'd like to continue with the brain sex, click on subscribe up here. If you want to follow me on social media, right here, ladies and gentlemen, next video below. And if you'd like your very own Sex Geek Summer Camp t-shirt, then just click right here, right now. Boop. Go ahead.